this segment, we look at 31 films for the month of October celebrating Halloween. We're not saying that these are the greatest horror films of all time. These are just 31 films worth checking out from different decades. We start off in 1922 with a black and white movie about a tale about witchcraft, Häxan. 1968 brought a classic, Night of the Living Dead, from George Romero, ushering in zombie films. 1973 brought Exorcism with The Exorcist, starring Linda Blair. In 1974, one of my favorite chainsaw horror films dropped, and that was The Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Leatherface. 1978 brought a horror classic from Michael Myers in Halloween. In 1979, Italian film director Lucio Fulci released Zombie 2, bringing in the Italian gore. 1980 brought in a bunch of sleazy horrors, and one that stood out was Dr. Butcher, MD, Medical Deviant. Also in the same year, we can't leave out the classic franchise of Friday the 13th. 1980 brought in a lot of wild slashers, and one that stood out was Maniac. 1981 brought in one of my favorite werewolf movies, The Howling, starring Dee Wallace. The Evil Dead, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell, is also a very good supernatural film. One of my favorites is The New York Ripper, showing old school New York in the early 80s. Very good giallo. Also in the 80s, a sick and twisted Spanish film named Pieces. And one of my favorite horror comedies is Basket Case. Troma Pictures put out a lot of wild ones, but in 1984, one that stood out for me was The Toxic Avenger. And in 1984, a VHS that I would not stop playing was Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street. 1987 brought in the legendary character Pinhead in the franchise hit Hellraiser. 1992 brought in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, a well-done gothic vampire film. Peter Jackson directed an early film of his, Brain Dead, known also as Dead Alive, a gory splatter film. In 2003, French horror made its mark with High Tension. Traps were on display in the 2004 James Wan movie Saw, bringing torture porn to popularity. Many people might not like him, but Rob Zombie put out a pretty good one in 2005 with The Devil's Rejects, with actor Sid Haig starring as Captain Spaulding. In 2005, Eli Roth released Hostile, bringing more extreme horror to mainstream audiences. 2006 brought in a pretty good remake of The Hills Have Eyes. 2007 brought in a double hit of Grindhouse with Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof and Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror. Japanese gore came on in full force in 2008 with Tokyo Gore Police. 2009 brought in a twisted horror film named The Collector. 2010 brought in a twisted foreign film by the name of A Serbian Film. If you're looking for newer 2019 horror, Midsummer from Ari Aster, showing folk drama horror. In 2022, Mia Goth starred in Ty West's film X, a newer film with homages to the old school. And we can't forget everyone's favorite clown as of late, Art the Clown in Terrifier 2. One of my favorite Blu-rays to play is 80s Trailer Trauma 3 Horrorthon. 8 hours of pure old school trailers from 1980 to 1989. Also worth checking out is Video Nasties, Volumes 1 and 2. Let us know in the comments section what are some of your favorite Halloween horror films.